And welcome back to Capital Talk. All this week, our theme is Great Kenyans. And I tell you, being a Monday, who better, who greater in this country to begin with than the professor herself, Kenya's Nobel Peace Prize laureate. And she doesn't even dwell on that. She's always out there trying to save the Mao, trying to save the Abaderes, trying to save the Congo River Basin, because she's goodwill ambassador for that region as well. This woman is tireless, and her autobiography, Unbowed, is a must-read. Pick it up. Yaya Center, textbook, you name it. Go and pick it up. You will not regret. And she has another book called The Challenge for Africa. That's another must-read because she knows what she's talking about. Professor Wangari Maathai. The three issues, Professor, and I tell you, it's so crucial when all these leaders of ours, and we put them there. It's our, we, like you said, it's our bed. We made it. We have to lie on it. We put these leaders there who are now going back. They've got the ammunition to go back and lie to their people because 2012 is around the corner. That's all they are thinking.
That's all they're thinking. Politicians are now worried about the 2012. So all this is a drama. In a way, it would have been much fairer and more honest if we had stopped with the parliament. Because parliamentarians, guided by the experts, guided by the lawyers within that house, they were in the best position to come up with a document. Now, as you know, this document goes back many, many years. And the last time we came out with a major document was in Bomas. And that document, you remember, was slaughtered and manipulated. Eventually it came to the referendum and it was defeated. And in many, many ways, this document is the very best we could have produced under the circumstances that we were in. And let us not forget that we wrote this document literally with the international community over our shoulders, because we had demonstrated in 2008 that we could no longer govern ourselves. We had run amok. We were literally out in the streets, out in the villages, killing each other, burning each other's property, killing children, raping women. And all this was incited by our leaders. So when the international community saw this, they came and they said, hey, talk. And this process is out of that talk, out of that dialogue with our leaders. So in many ways, what the parliamentarians approved is what they could under the circumstances. Remember, they said they had literally more than 100 amendments that they wanted to put forward. But none of them could raise the required number. And you should also remember that one of the reasons why the number was put high for any changes is because we were trying to prevent the kind of thing we have been doing with our previous constitution, where we go to parliament one afternoon and we change the country from a multi-party system to a single-party system in one afternoon within less than 45 minutes. We have done that. So we were trying to make sure that nobody, not even parliament, can manipulate a document that had been agreed upon. But there is absolutely no reason why parliament could not have changed any of these issues that we are now hovering over. And many of the people who are now telling us to reject the document were in that parliament. By the way, one of the issues that we are hovering over is the Kadhi Court. How many Muslims are in parliament?
Not that many.
And how many Christians are in parliament?
A lot more.
So why didn't they pass it? They had the opportunity. So if the parliamentarians who are the majority in the Christians who were the majority in parliament did not see the need to change it, why are they now telling us, the same politicians, that we should not pass the constitution because of the Kadhi Court? And the same applies to all these other issues that we are now fighting over. What I would say is that if we had been honest, if we had been fair, we should never have taken this document to the people. Because what we have really done is give the same politicians who could not agree in parliament, we have given them another opportunity to come and confuse the wananchi, the ordinary citizens. And as you know, without exaggeration, more than 80% of our people do not understand that document. It is written in a legalistic language, it is written in English, and even Kiswahili is not easy for any one of us. And so we rely entirely on our leaders. And we rely on our leaders from what I call in the Challenge for Africa, micronationalities or tribes. Our tribal leaders are the ones who tell us whether we should pass it or not. And because most of us trust our tribal leaders, it is very difficult for us to think independently. And even if we wanted, if I cannot read or write, if I cannot read in English and Kiswahili, how can I form an informed opinion about the Constitution? I have to listen to my leader. I have to listen to, now unfortunately, my spiritual leader, who are the people who are now translating the documents to the ordinary citizens. But because that is the way the thing was crafted, in an effort to make sure that the public of Kenya would own the document, it has to go to the members of the public. But now the members of the public, you must remember that readers will misguide you, because some of them are playing the drama to set the stage for 2012.
And we're falling right prey to that, aren't we, Professor? At the same time, the leaders of the second revolution, the Matibas, the Rubias, who are still alive, but completely sidelined, even after Saba Saba, we celebrated 20 years the other day. What would they think right now? Because this is what they fought for. And yet we are throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Well, I think I would say that it's not only Kenya, it's largely the African region. I think partly our history has not given us an opportunity to celebrate our heroes. Or maybe we were pushed into a nationhood too soon before we could transform our traditional ways of recognizing heroes to the national level. And I think that we made the wrong step from the very beginning. The greatest number of people who sacrificed for this country at independence or against the colonial system were the Mau Maus in this country. The Mau Maus are known all over the world. It is a movement that has inspired many people all over the world.
Including the ANC in South Africa.
Precisely. But here in Kenya, it was criminalized and trivialized. We won't go into the reasons why, but that is part of the reason why. And we have a national psyche which does not recognize people who do good for the common good. And that is probably because our leadership itself is founded not on sacrifice, not on service, but on opportunism. And as long as you have leaders who dwell on opportunism and the public that is not completely able to demand that those who are not opportunistic, those who serve without selfishness are recognized, we shall continue to have the Rubias, the Matibas, the Kemadis, and many other leaders in our country ignored. But I think it is not always deliberate. It is partly because of the way we have founded our nation, and partly because we have not yet found leaders who are truly driven by a commitment for this country. I see leaders who are still driven by a commitment to their tribe, which, as I say, I call micronationality. And we tend to see that micronationality or that tribe as the beginning and the end. And indeed, in this country, you have to have a micronationality behind you to be able to become a member of parliament, especially to be able to become a president. You couldn't hope that you can rise up from nowhere like an Obama, and become the president of this country. You need to cultivate your micronationality. Now that is a very unfortunate fact for the politics of our country. And so you will see a lot of leaders right now going around talking about the draft constitution, trying to sell it to their tribe in a way that will make them popular, so that they can be elected in 2012, either as a member of parliament, or for those who are aspiring to be presidential candidates, to be propelled to the presidential candidate level. That's the tragedy of our country. And if we didn't have the division within the religious leaders, I wouldn't be too worried, because these things work out themselves as people become more educated, as people become more exposed. The new generation of young men and women is more likely not to be so tied to their tribe as our older generation. But what worries me is the division that we have now introduced into our politics, and that is division that is based on faith. That's a very, very dangerous division, because I can tell you of many, many fights that have been fought for decades over religious division. So I would really hope that we minimize division over religion.
Professor, you have a lot of work ahead of you. Keep fighting.
Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you very much.
You're a great
we'll
Kenyan.
do our best.
You're a great Kenyan.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you very
The
much.
greatest of all, in fact, Kenyans. Professor Wangari Maathai has spoken. The scenarios are like day and night. One, we could go ahead peacefully, or we could go back to where we were in '08 and even worse. That's the bottom line. Choice is up to you. If you cannot see that, then as at the end of the day, I keep saying these words, we get what we deserve. Professor Wangari Maathai has been at the forefront of the struggle, and she continues, because she knows it's all about country first, everything else second, and she doesn't care about the recognition or the accolades. She's here, she says, to do her work. I keep saying it's only Monday. Wait till you see the rest of the week. You cannot find these kinds of guests anywhere else, but right here on the bench, on the award-winning station, K24. Where as always, we are, even in times of Nobel laureates, we are all Kenyan.
All the time.
Thank you, Professor. Capital Talk is recorded at the Fairview Hotel, the country hotel in town.